Today we're working on our second body paragraph, and this should be about the vegetation that we saw while we were on our exploration. If you remember, my exploration is on visiting the Central Valley of California. So yesterday I wrote about my landforms and the bodies of water that I saw, and today I'm writing about all of the plants and the vegetations I saw. So with that, I have a little bit of space left here on the bottom of this page, so I'm going to begin right here. And then what I'm going to do when I'm through is I'm going to continue on to the next page. So if you remember before, we are going to not write anything here. We're going to come down to the next line and we're going to do our indentions. I'm going to put a dot. Right there is where my third paragraph begins. So let's look back at our chart under the vegetation. So there are over 240 different types of crops, and I listed them: citrus, nuts, grape, grain, hay, cotton, tomatoes, and vegetables. 13% of the total crops for the United States. There are oak woodlands that surround the Central Valley and grasslands also throughout the Central Valley. And around the grasslands are around the freshwater marshes, and this is where you see all sorts of interesting plants and animals. So let's just practice what we want to say. So we can start by talking about the crops of the Central Valley. And there's no better way to do that than to actually describe the scent when you enter into those citrus fields of different lemon, oranges, lime trees, just the smell of the citrus that just hits your nose like a punch, and you smell it, especially the orange, so brightly that it just wakes you up. Orange actually has that effect on people. So I really want to make sure that I talk about that. So we have to practice what we're going to say. And then don't forget about your transition words that show that we're moving on to another topic, another idea. So some people say second or secondly, at this time, next, meanwhile, or beyond. I like that, beyond. That might actually work. So far, beyond. So I'm going to say far beyond the northern Sacramento Valley is the San Joaquin Valley, where the majority of our nation's crops are. Because 13%, that's over 1/10 of our nation's crops just from our state alone. So we can say where the majority of our nation's crops are grown. That's awesome. So let's write that. Far beyond the northern Sacramento Valley lays the San Joaquin Valley. Comma, which is home. I'm almost to the bottom of my page here, and then I will have to switch over to the next page, which is home to over 240 different Now I'm going to turn the page. And I'm not writing on the back only because I'm using an erasable pen and it bleeds through slightly. So home to over 240 different types of crops. Now let's describe what we see, the rows and rows of crops and the smell of the citrus trees. The smell of citrus, smells of citrus, dance around my nostrils. Nostrils. The rows of vegetables seem to go on forever. Maybe I could say something along the lines as, when you see it with your own eyes, then you understand how something so big could provide fruits and vegetables to the rest of our country, because it just seems to go on forever and ever. So the rows of vegetables seem to go on forever. How about, it's no wonder that California's Central Valley provides crops to most of the United States. It's no wonder. Remember, say it out loud and listen to yourself. Use the recorder I've provided for you. See if it sounds right before you write it down. So it's no wonder the Central Valley provides crops to most of the United States. Now I don't have to say the 13% again because I've already said it and I don't want to sound repetitive. So it's no wonder, it's this frequently confused word. No wonder the Central Valley provides crops to most of the United States. I want to also talk about the marshy grasslands, or how about we've already kind of talked about the marshes and the grasslands. Let's talk about the oak woodlands that surround the entire region of the Central Valley. Have you ever seen an oak tree? There's just something mighty and wise about an old oak tree. They are just super awesome. So let's say something. The Central Valley I want to say is like guarded by the mighty oak trees because makes like a wall around the whole Central Valley. That sounds like it would be awesome. So the Central Valley is guarded I spelled that. Okay, maybe I didn't. No, that's right. Guarded by the mighty oak. Oak, but now I have to explain what I mean because there aren't oak trees standing like guards protecting the Central Valley. I've got to explain it. So I'm going to say oak trees, the oak woodlands surround the entire Central Valley. So oak woodlands surround the entire Central Valley. And I'm going to stop right there. Let's read what we have. So it says, far beyond the northern Sacramento Valley lays the San Joaquin Valley, which is home to over 240 different types of crops. The smells of citrus dance around my nostrils. The rows of vegetables seem to go on forever. It's no wonder the Central Valley provides crops to most of the United States. The Central Valley is guarded by the mighty oak. Oak woodlands surround the entire Central Valley. So that is my paragraph about vegetation, trees, and plants that grow in the Central Valley. There are many, many different types, but I don't want this to be a 10-page story. I want this to be just 5 paragraphs. Anyways, when you are done with yours, make sure you read it into the recorder to make sure it sounds okay, and then snap a picture and insert it on today's slide.